Here comes Bod. Bod's in bed. He's having a dream. And in the dream, he's eating a large bowl of strawberries and cream. Next morning, he can think of nothing but strawberry cream. Along comes Frank, the postman, with a letter for Bod. "Morning, Bod," says Frank. But Bod doesn't see or hear him. He wouldn't have noticed if an elephant had been the postman. He's in such a daydream about the strawberries. "That's funny," says Frank. "What can Bod be thinking about?" And he's so curious to know that he can't help following him. They come to Farmer Barleymow. "Morning," says Barleymow. But they walk past without answering him. Bod's so busy thinking about strawberries, and Frank's so busy thinking about what Bod can be thinking about, they wouldn't have noticed if Barleymow had been a scarecrow. "Well, I never," says Barleymow. And full of wonder, he follows them. "Good morning, everybody," says Aunt Flo. But they're all so busy with their own thoughts that they walk past without answering her. They wouldn't have noticed her if she had been standing on her head. "What can they be up to?" says Aunt Flo. And lost in thought, she follows them. By and by, they come to a hole in the ground. Bod doesn't see it. He's still dreaming of strawberries. Frank is so busy thinking about what Bod can be thinking about that he doesn't even notice that Bod has disappeared. He, too, walks into the hole. And Barleymow is so busy thinking about what Bod and Frank can be thinking about that he doesn't see the hole either. Nor does Aunt Flo. Then along comes P.C. Copper. He sees the hole. "That's a dangerous hole," he says. "Someone might fall down that." So he puts up signs saying, "Danger, stop," and directs people away from the hole. Suddenly, he hears voices coming from the hole. "Hello, hello," he says, shining his torch. "Anybody down there?" "Yes," says Bod. "And guess what we found down here?" "Oh, dear. "I give up," says P.C. Copper. "An enormous bowl of strawberries and cream, just like I dreamt about. Come and join us." "I can't join you," says P.C. Copper. "And I can't eat on duty. But save a strawberry for me, and I'll pop it under my helmet to eat later on." Here comes Bod. And here comes Frank the postman, mowing his lawn. I'm very proud of his lawn, is Frank. I don't like letting the grass grow under my feet, he says. As he mows, Aunt Flo, Farmer Barleymow, and PC Copper come by on their way to the park. Will you join us, Frank? Says Bod. I've got to get this lawn right first, says Frank. I want it looking as smooth as a billiard table. I may catch you up later. When they get to the park, Aunt Flo loses herself among the flowers. What blooms, she says. What blooms. Isn't nature wonderful? Who's for boating? Says Barleymow. No one replies. Barleymow is not very good at rowing. I'll get some practice in then, he says. I think I'll just drop off, says PC Copper. Drop off, says Bod. You know, get in a bit of shut-eye. 40 winks, kip, sleep. Oh, I see, says Bod. Bod gets the bread Aunt Flo has packed in her basket and starts to feed the birds and ducks. But then the big geese march in, pushing the smaller birds out of the way. Manners, manners, says Bod. First come, first served. They start to snatch the bread out of Bod's hands. Let me have some of your bread, says Barleymow. I'll lure them away. But only one goose follows him. Oh, I must have dropped off, says PC Copper. Are those geese deserving the peace? I'll see to them. By the left, quick march. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Bod has no more bread for the birds. Time to go home, says Aunt Flo. Where's Barleymow? Come in, number 4, shouts the boatman. Your time's up. Barleymow is having a spot of trouble with his boat. Coming, he says. Just a minute. By the time they pass Frank's garden on the way home, Barleymow's clothes have dried out. PC Copper is there with the geese, and they're eating Frank's grass. They follow me everywhere, even on traffic duty, says PC Copper. When they have nibbled the grass short, the lawn is smoother than it has ever been. Well, I'd better be taking these geese back to the park, says PC Copper. Can't you stay for tea, says Frank. Look what the geese have laid for us. Soft boiled, please, says PC Copper. I must say, they have their uses, gooses. I mean geese. Here comes Bod. It's a very warm day. Bart has found a cool place to sit. Along comes Frank the postman, out of breath from pushing his bike up the hill. Good morning, Bart. He pants. Good morning, says Bart. It'll be easier going down. Frank freewheels downhill, making a bit of a breeze for himself. But as he gets up speed, 2 letters fly out of his bag. Bod catches one letter. He sees that it's addressed to Aunt Flo. I'll take it to her, he says. The other letter blows along to P.C. Copper. He tries to catch it with his helmet, but misses. It flies through the air towards Farmer Barleymow and ends up on his pitchfork. A letter to Aunt Flo, he says. I must take it to her. Aunt Flo is busy watering her garden. Hello, says Frank. I had some post for you, but it seems to have disappeared. Here, let me give you a hand with that hose. Then along comes Bod. Look, I managed to catch the post, he says. Just then, the hose springs a leak. The jet of water shoots up and carries the letter to Aunt Flo. By airmail, says Aunt Flo. It's from my sister Alice in Australia. She's coming to visit me. I'll put my thumb over the hole, says Bod. Then the hose will work again. Hello, says Barleymow. I found a letter for you. But just then, the hose springs another leak, and the jet of water takes the letter to Aunt Flo. Oh, says Aunt Flo, another airmail. It's from my cousin Cuthbert, the one who went to live with the Eskimos. I better put my thumb over the hole, says Barleymow. Then the hose will work properly. Then along comes P.C. Copper. Hello, hello, he says. Why are you all holding that hose? To stop it leaking, says Bod. A fat lot of good that'll do, says P.C. Copper. Rain. That's what you need. I wish I could direct that cloud to come here. Well, why don't you try, says Bod. All right, says P.C. Copper. Now move along there, please. Move along. To his surprise, the cloud does. Stop, says P.C. Copper when it's overhead. To his even greater surprise, it does. Oh, I wish I could make it rain by just clapping my hands, says Bod. Well, why don't you try, says Aunt Flo. Go on, have a go, says P.C. Copper. All right, says Bod. He claps, and it rains. Rain, rain, what a blessing, says Aunt Flo. What a fluke, you mean, says P.C. Copper. How odd, says Bod. I bet that never happens again. And it didn't. Here comes Bod. Bod's on his way to Barleymow's farm. But when he gets there, he sees Aunt Flo, Frank the postman, and P.C. Copper in the fields. Aunt Flo is behaving most strangely. Why are you behaving like a chicken? Says Maud. Farmer Barleymore's chickens all got out in the gale last night, says Aunt Flo. They're up in the trees. Pretend to be a chicken with me, and they may come down to us. Go on, Flo and Pod. The cows have all got out, too. And Frank the postman is busy rounding them up. I must say, delivering cows makes a change from delivering letters, says Frank. P.C. Copper mounts a donkey and rounds up the pigs and piglets. You know, I've always had a hankering to be in the mounted police, he says. Farmer Barleymow finishes mending all the fences, gates, and doors that have been blown down by the wind. When all the animals are safely inside, P.C. Copper says, you know, Barleymow, I've never been over your farm before. It'd be ideal for a farmhouse holiday. You could give guests a wonderful bed and breakfast here, says Aunt Flo. Oh, breakfast, no problem, says Barleymow. What about the bed? It's only mine, and I can't have all the guests in bed with me. I'll soon fix up the other bedrooms, says Frank. Leave it to me. Children could have a great holiday here, says Bod. With all these young animals, we could make a pet's corner. There's only one snag, says P.C. Copper. The farm's so tucked away, nobody will be able to find it. I'll put up some signs. When the house is ready, Bod and his friends leave Aunt Flo and Barleymow to prepare for the first guests. The next day, Frank the postman arrives with a letter. Barleymow opens the letter, and it says, 3 gentlemen arriving tomorrow for bed and breakfast. But it's tomorrow today, says Aunt Flo, because that letter was written yesterday. They may be here any minute. There's a knock at the door. That must be them, she says. I wonder who they are. Hello, says Bod. Hello, says Frank. Hello, says P.C. Copper. As it's so nice here, we thought we'd be your first guests. Paying guests, of course. Oh, I wouldn't dream of you paying, says Barleymow. Just be my guests. My very first guests. So Barleymow provided the beds, Aunt Flo the breakfasts, and they all had a wonderful time helping on the farm. I must say, says Bod, it's a very good idea, this bod and breakfast. Bed and breakfast, I mean. Here comes Bod. I'm going to throw this apple up in the air and catch it, says Bod. Watch me. That's funny, says Bod. It hasn't come down. Here comes Aunt Flo. Hello, Bod, she says. What are you doing here? I'm waiting for an apple I threw up in the air, says Bod. It hasn't come down. Oh, it will, says Aunt Flo. They always do. And she waits with Bod for the apple to come down. Here comes Frank, the postman. Hello, says Frank. Why are you standing here? We're waiting for an apple that Bod threw up in the air to come down again, says Aunt Flo. Can you see it? No, says Frank. But it's sure to come down soon. I'll wait with you and Bod. Here comes Farmer Barleymow. Hello, he says. What's up? An apple, says Frank. Bod threw one up in the air and it hasn't come down. It'll be down, says Farmer Barleymow. What goes up must come down. And Farmer Barleymow waits with Frank, Aunt Flo, and Bod for the apple to come down. Here comes PC Copper. Hello, hello, says PC Copper. What are you all waiting here for? An apple, says Farmer Barleymow. An apple, says PC Copper. Yes, an apple, says Farmer Barleymow. Bod threw it up in the air and we're still waiting for it to come down. Then you must be daft, says PC Copper. How can an apple stay up in the air so long? It must have been stolen by a bird. Now, move along there. Farmer Barleymow feels very foolish and goes red in the face. I must be daft, he thinks, wasting my time here when I could be driving my tractor. He turns to Frank and says, you must be daft, Frank, waiting here. How can the apple still be up in the air? Now, Frank feels very foolish and goes red in the face. I must be daft, he thinks, wasting my time here when I could be taking round letters. He turns to Aunt Flo and says, excuse me, madam, but you must be daft waiting here. How can the apple still be up in the air? Now, Aunt Flo feels very foolish and goes red in the face. I must be daft, she thinks, wasting my time here when I could be baking a cake. And she turns to Bod and says, you must be daft. How can the apple still be up in the air after all this time? Honestly, Bod, sometimes I think you need your bumps felt. Now it's Bod's turn to feel foolish and go red in the face. I must be daft, he thinks, waiting around here when I could be getting another apple to throw up in the air and catch. And he is just going to walk away when... bonk. You said I needed my bumps felt, he says to Aunt Flo. Come and feel this one. Then PC Copper, Farmer Barleymow, Frank, and Aunt Flo all buy apples and throw them up in the air to see how long they will stay up. But their apples come straight down again. Here comes Bod. Good morning, says Bod. Good morning, says Aunt Flo. Good morning, says PC Copper. Good morning, says Farmer Barleymow. Good morning, says Frank the postman. It's a lovely day to be going to the seaside. This way to the beach, says PC Copper. I hope it doesn't cloud over before we get there. But it does. Never mind, says Bod, as long as it doesn't rain. There's never any shortage of things to do on the beach, says Aunt Flo. I'm going to collect seashells. One thing you won't find me doing, says P.C. Copper, and that's swimming. Whew. Nor me, says Barleymow. Even the gulls don't feel like going in. It's not so cold once you're out of the wind, says Frank. It's almost balmy, in fact. It's no good being a fisherman unless you're an all-weather fisherman, says Barleymow. A bit on the fresh side, isn't it? Says P.C. Copper. Still, coppers can't be choosers. I know how to keep you warm, says Bod. Lie down. What for? Says P.C. Copper. You'll see, says Bod. The sand is warm, and I'll cover you in it. Well, that's a useful little trick, says P.C. Copper. I must remember that for when I come again. Now, can I borrow your helmet, says Bod. Why do you want it, says P.C. Copper. That's fine, says Bod. I've collected so many different shells now, says Aunt Flo. I'll have plenty to decorate the lamp I'm making. I must get back to the others. Oh, dear. It's not going to be so easy. The tide's coming in, right in, and I can't swim. Help, she cries. Swim, shouts Barleymow. I can't. Oh, help, she cries. Don't panic, anybody, says P.C. Copper. Just carry out my orders to the letter. Bod, get my helmet. I can't find it, says Bod. It's on your head, says Frank. Oh, says Bod, how silly of me. Now, throw the helmet to Frank, says P.C. Copper. Frank, you throw it to Barleymow. And Barleymow, attach the helmet to your line and cast it to Aunt Flo. Right? Cast. Now jump in, madam, and hold on to the helmet. It'll keep you afloat. Now reel the lady in. As Aunt Flo scrambles ashore, the sun comes out. Isn't that lucky, she says. Just in time to dry my clothes. At least you managed to get a dip in, says P.C. Copper. Helmet, please, Bod. Oh, I see you managed to catch a couple of tiddlers, Barleymow. I reckon we've all had a good day. Here comes Bod. Bod is thinking about a dog. One day, I'll have a dog, he says. But what dog? What dog is my sort of dog? Along comes Aunt Flo. Now, if Aunt Flo had a dog, says Bod, what dog would she have? What dog is her sort of dog? I know. A poodle, yes. She looks the poodle type. Good morning, says Aunt Flo. Good dog, says Bod, who could still think of nothing but dog. Then along comes Frank the postman. Now, what's Frank's dog, says Bod. What sort of dog would Frank have? Yes, I think he's the terrier type. Good morning, Bod, says Frank. Good dog, says Bod, who can still think of nothing but dog. Then along comes Farmer Barleymow. Now, if Barleymow had a dog, says Bod, what sort of dog would he have? Yes, I think he is the sheepdog type. Good morning, Bod, says Barleymow. Good dog, says Bod, who can still think of nothing but dog. But I still don't know what's my sort of dog, says Bod. Is it spaniel? Or bulldog? Or Pekingese? And then along comes P.C. Copper. Now, what sort of dog would P.C. Copper have, says Bod. I know. He's the Alsatian type. Good morning, Bod, says P.C. Copper. Good dog, says Bod, still thinking of nothing but dog. What do you mean, good dog, says P.C. Copper. I was thinking about what dog I'd choose if I was going to have one, says Bod. It looks to me as if it's a case of the dog choosing the person, says P.C. Copper. Take a look behind you. Then Bod sees the dog that's been following him. Good dog, says Bod. The dog doesn't say anything. He seems to have chosen you, says P.C. Copper. He didn't choose me, or Barleymow, or Frank, or Flo. He chose you. So he must be your sort of dog, and you must be his sort of Bod. Here comes Bod. Hello? Says Bod. It's Aunt Flo. I'm making a cake, she says. Can you come to tea? I'd love to, says Bod. Would you mind phoning Barleymow, Frank, and P.C. Copper for me and ask them too? Says Aunt Flo. I'm right in the middle of mixing. Oh, and would you phone me just before you come to remind me to take the cake out of the oven? You know how forgetful I've grown. I won't forget, says Bod. I'll just do another piece of my jigsaw before I ring. Now, where can it go? Here? Nope. There? No. Where? Barleymow takes some time to answer the phone, as he's busy feeding his pigs. Hello? Says Barleymow. Aunt Flo is making a cake, says Bod, and wants us all to come to tea. Can you come? I wouldn't miss one of Flo's cakes for all the tea in China, says Barleymow. Would you mind phoning the others and asking them too, says Bod. I'm right in the middle of a jigsaw. I'd better put the cows in first, says Barleymow. Come on, Gertrude. Come on, move yourself. Gertrude is the slowest cow. Hello? Says Frank. Aunt Flo is making a cake, says Barrymore. Can you come? Can I come? Nothing would stop me coming, says Frank. Would you mind phoning PC Copper and ask him too, says Barrymore. I must get the mud off my boots and have a good wash. I'll just finish off this paper hanging, says Frank. It won't take a jiffy, but it does. Several jiffies. And not all of the paper goes on the wall.
Oh, ah. Ooh. Ooh.
Hello, says PC Copper. Aunt Flo is making a cake, says Frank. Can you come? Haven't had one of Flo's cakes for years, says PC Copper. The last one was a sponge I'll never forget. I'll just sort out this traffic jam first. I don't want jam for my tea, especially traffic jam. I want Flo's cake. He moves the traffic on and signals to Bod that it's safe to cross. What do you think she's made this time, says PC Copper. Fruit, sponge, or chocolate cake? But when they arrive at Aunt Flo's, Bod remembers that he didn't remind her to take the cake out of the oven. I'm terribly sorry, says Bod. I don't know what to say. It must be burnt to a cinder. It isn't, says Aunt Flo. I've just remembered. I forgot to put it in. Never mind. Now you're all here, let's have tea just the same. Will you help me make some sandwiches, Bod? Certainly, says Bod. Frank, PC Copper, and Barrymore are very disappointed there's no cake, but they don't show it. What lovely sandwiches, they say. I'll put the cake in the oven now, says Aunt Flo, and then you can all come and have tea again with me tomorrow. After tea, Bod does the washing up, and the others do the drying up. Barrymore takes care of the saucers and plates, Frank the cups, and PC Copper the larger items. By the way, says Bod, when they're saying goodbye to Aunt Flo, how will you remind yourself about the cake? Oh, I'll just tie a knot in my handkerchief, says Aunt Flo. Goodbye. Here comes Bod. Bod has got a kite. He goes to the top of a hill to fly it. The kite goes up in the air. It's going up, says Bod. It's coming down. Along comes Frank the postman. He sees the kite on the ground. Having trouble with that kite? He says to Bod. Here, let me give you a hand. He ties the kite to his bike, cycles to the top of the hill, and freewheels down the other side. We have liftoff, says Frank. Look, it's going up. It's coming down. Then along comes Farmer Barrymore. He sees the kite on the ground. I'll tie it to my tractor, he says. That'll give it a good start. It's going up, says Farmer Barleymow. It's coming down. Then along comes PC Copper. Hello, hello, he says. Spot a kite trouble, eh? I'll give you a hand. As luck would have it, I have the use of a police helicopter today. I've got to go up aloft and spot traffic jams. I'll take the kite with me. He takes the kite up in the air and lets it go. It's going up, he says. It's coming down. Then along comes Aunt Flo. She sees the kite on the ground. Oh, dear, she says. Isn't it working? Never mind. I brought along a picnic lunch to give you new strength. What a spread, says Bod. After lunch, Bod and his friends fall asleep in the sun. Bod dreams of a sky full of kites. While they're all asleep, a breeze springs up and lifts the kite into the air. It rises higher and higher into the sky. Bod wakes up just in time to catch it. The others wake up too. Well done, they say. How did you manage it? What method did you use? Oh, I just dreamt it up, says Bod. Here comes Bod. Bod is busy collecting sticks for Farmer Barleymow. I wonder what he wants these sticks for, says Bod. What are you going to do with them, he asks. I'll show you, says Barleymow. Stick around. There, says Barleymow. A bird table for Aunt Flo. The birds don't come to her garden, and she misses them. Maybe this will bring them. When they get to Aunt Flo's, they unload the bird table and set it up in the garden. We've got a surprise for you, says Barleymow. Knowing how much you like having birds in your garden, we've made you a bird table. I hope it brings them. Aunt Flo is delighted. I've got a surprise for you, too, she says. What can it be, says Bod. Haven't the foggiest, says Barleymow. Knowing how much you dislike having birds in your fields spoiling the corn, says Aunt Flo, I've made you this scarecrow. I hope it scares them away. Bod and Barleymow take the scarecrow back to the farm and set it up in the field. But the birds aren't at all scared by it. In fact, they flock to it from miles around. The bird table in Aunt Flo's garden isn't a great success either. Aunt Flo has put bread and seeds on it, but no birds come. I don't know what birds are coming to, says Aunt Flo. A lovely bird table like that, full of goodies, and they ignore it. Then Frank the postman comes with a letter for Aunt Flo. Farmer Barleymow has made this lovely bird table for me, she says, but it doesn't work. I don't like to hurt his feelings and tell him, but it just doesn't work. Then Frank goes to Farmer Barleymow. Aunt Flo has made this scarecrow for me, says Barleymow, but it doesn't work. I don't like to hurt her feelings and tell her, but it just doesn't work. What can I do about it? Let's go and have a word with P.C. Copper, says Frank. Aunt Flo's got no birds and wants them. And Barleymow's got lots and doesn't. What can they do? Ask Bod, says P.C. Copper. He might know. I know, says Bod. Put the scarecrow in the garden and the bird table in the field. So they put the scarecrow right by Aunt Flo's roses. In no time at all, her garden is full of birds of every shape and color. And they put the bird table in Farmer Barleymow's cornfield. No bird will come near it. Aunt Flo and Farmer Barleymow are so pleased with the swap, they decide to have a picnic in Farmer Barleymow's cornfield. And the birds have a picnic too, on the scarecrow. Here comes Bod. Bod is listening to a grasshopper singing. That grasshopper sounds so close, says Bod. I'll follow its sound and then I'll see it. But as he goes towards it, the grasshopper stops chirping and hops off. Bod hops after it. Then Frank the postman cycles by. What's up with Bod, he says. I must find out what Bod's up to. And so he hops after him. Then Aunt Flo comes by and sees Bod and Frank hopping about in the long grass. I must find out what they're up to, she says, and hops after them. Then along comes P.C. Copper. Hello, hello, he says. What's going on here? I must look into this. Farmer Barleymow isn't all that surprised to see his friends hopping madly about in the air. They're always up to something, he says. What can it be now? And he hops after them. Anyone seeing us must think we're hopping mad, he says. They hop over several fields. At last, the grasshopper stops hopping and starts singing again. Bod and his friends come to a stop too. What are we all hopping for? Asked Barleymow. Ask Aunt Flo, says P.C. Copper. Ask Frank, says Aunt Flo. Ask Bod, says Frank. He started it. I'm following a grasshopper, explains Bod. I'm hoping and hopping and hopping and hoping to see him. He hops after the grasshopper. The others follow him. Suddenly, Frank stops in mid-air. He spotted a mother swan sitting on her eggs. Now, that's a sight I've never seen before, says Frank. Amazing what you discover when you follow a grasshopper. Then P.C. Copper spots something that stops him in mid-hop. Goodness me, he says. That's the stolen car the whole force has been searching for. Amazing what you discover when you follow a grasshopper. Barleymow, too, is suddenly stopped in his hops. He hears a bleating sound. Goodness me, he says. That's my lost sheep. Amazing what you discover when you follow a grasshopper. Then Aunt Flo stops. Well, I never, she says. A badger's set. I didn't know there was one in these woods. Amazing what you discover when you follow a grasshopper. They all stop to look. The grasshopper stops too. Can you see where? Well, we've all discovered something by following the grasshopper, says Aunt Flo. What about you, Bod? Oh, I've discovered what a good day you can spend when you follow a grasshopper, says Bod. Here comes Bod. It's Christmas Eve, and he's taking a Christmas present to his Aunt Flo. I'd better hurry, says Bod. It's snowing hard. He's only gone a little way when he sees Police Constable Copper trudging through the snow. Hello, says Bod. Hello, hello, says P.C. Copper. Where are you off to? I'm taking a present to Aunt Flo, says Bod. So am I, says P.C. Copper. Then they see Frank the postman struggling through the snow. Hello, hello, says P.C. Copper. Where are you going? I'm taking a present to Aunt Flo, says Frank. So are we, says P.C. Copper. After a while, they see Farmer Barleymow. Hello, says Frank. Going to Aunt Flo's? I'm trying to, says Barleymow. So are we, says Frank. They try to go on together, but the snow is too deep. Cold, isn't it, says Barleymow. Yes, says P.C. Copper. Yes, says Frank. Bod is too cold to answer. Then, at midnight, when everything is very still and quiet, there's a jingle of bells. And out of the night rides Father Christmas on his sleigh. Whoa there, whoa, he cries to his reindeer when he sees the 4 parcels in the snow. Someone must have dropped these presents for Aunt Flo, he says, reading the labels. I better take them to her. He goes to pick the first parcel up, but he can't move it. He gives a tremendous tug, and up it comes with Bod on the end. Hello, says Bod. Then Bod helps Father Christmas pull the others out of the snow. Jump in, I'll give you a lift, says Father Christmas. Thank you, says Bod. Getting you out of the snow has made me a bit late, says Father Christmas. Would you help me deliver some presents on the way? We'd love to, says Bod. Father Christmas gives them each a sack of presents, and they all go down chimneys and fill the Christmas stockings. Happy Christmas, says Bod. Oh, what a fright you gave me, says Aunt Flo. Then Bod gives his present to Aunt Flo. It's a hat. Thank you, Bod, says Aunt Flo. How kind of you. Happy Christmas, says P.C. Copper, and he gives Aunt Flo his present. It's another hat. Oh, it's gorgeous, says Aunt Flo. What a kind copper you are. Then Barleymow gives his present. Guess what it is, he says. I've no idea, says Aunt Flo. Oh, what a gorgeous hat. How good of you, Barleymow, to buy me a hat. Happy Christmas, says Frank, giving Aunt Flo his present. It's another hat for you, I'm afraid. Oh, what a hatty Christmas I'm having, says Aunt Flo. Now it's my turn, she says. A very happy Christmas to you all. Aunt Flo has given them all handkerchiefs. Thank you so much, says Bod. These handkerchiefs will come in very nosy. These nosekerchiefs will come in very handy. Aunt Flo couldn't have given a more useful present. For Bod and his friends have all caught colds from their night in the snow. It was worth catching cold, thinks Bod, to meet Father Christmas and to see Aunt Flo in all those hats.
Happy. Attissimus,
says Bod. It's autumn, and the leaves are changing color and falling. Aunt Flo is very sad to see all the leaves falling from her cherry tree, but Bod cheers her up. The leaves must fall before the blossom comes again in the spring, he tells her. That's right, isn't it? He says to Frank, the postman who is passing by. Of course, says Frank. The blossom can't come until the leaves have fallen. That's so, isn't it? He says to Farmer Barleymow, who is passing by. Very much so, says Barleymow. The leaves must fall before the blossom comes. That's the law of things, isn't it, Constable? Says Barleymow to P.C. Copper, who comes by just then. Yes, says P.C. Copper. The leaves must fall so the blossom can come. That's the law of things. So the leaves fall. Then, after the winter, it's spring, and the blossom comes. And Aunt Flo is happy again. Isn't it beautiful, she says. It is, says Bod. But when the blossom begins to fall, Aunt Flo feels sad. Once again, Bod cheers her up. The blossom must fall before the cherries can come, says Bod. That's right, isn't it? Yes, says Frank. Yes, says Barleymow. Quite right, says P.C. Copper, and Aunt Flo feels happy again. So the blossom falls, and in the summer, the cherries come. Every day, Aunt Flo and Bod go to look at the cherries ripening. Aren't they coming along, says Bod to Frank. They are, says Frank. Aren't they coming along nicely, says Frank to Barleymow. Very nicely, says Barleymow. Very nicely indeed. They're ripe for picking, says Barleymow. Yes, says P.C. Copper. They're beauties. Then let's all come tomorrow morning, says Bod, and help Aunt Flo pick them. But when they get to the tree, they find Aunt Flo almost in tears. There's hardly a cherry left. The birds have eaten them. This time, Bod doesn't know how to cheer her up. But then, up in the tree, the birds start to sing. They sing so beautifully that Bod, Frank, Barleymow, P.C. Copper, and Aunt Flo listen spellbound. You see, says Bod to Aunt Flo, it's your cherries that have helped to make the birds sing so beautifully. And that makes Aunt Flo happy again.